Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com.
Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm Josh Guesman along with Wendy Thomas, and on today's show we're jumping right into the fire as we recap and discuss the LA Galaxy's monumental collapse in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal to FC Dallas on Wednesday night. Was it a lineup issue? Was Bruce Arena even focused on this game, or did the LA Galaxy try to get greedy with 3 games in 7 days? We'll also get you updated on all your LA Galaxy news and get you ready for another big game against Western Conference Cinderellas, the Colorado Rapids. Will the Galaxy find a way to right the ship almost halfway through the month of August? Let's find out. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com.
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Now here are your hosts, Josh Guesman and Wendy Thomas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Josh Guesman, Miss Wendy Thomas with you once again. Welcome back to hopefully what will be a fun show, even though we're all sort of in the midst of depression. I have a feeling there's some angry people. I have the feeling there's some sad people. I have a feeling there's everything in between. Wendy, I'd like to get your temperature first. How are you doing? Doing okay?
Not really. I have to be honest with you. I'm a bit crestfallen. Yes. I'm a little livid. I'm dismayed. Mm-hmm. I'm disappointed. I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. There's a flood and a variety of emotions coursing through me, and so we can go a whole bunch of different directions depending on which one you want to elicit.
Oh! I'm telling you right now that I have a feeling we're gonna probably touch on a whole bunch of them here. I would like to tell everybody right now that because this is a time when your comments are needed, when our comments just aren't enough, regardless of if we have the same view or not on the LA Galaxy's 2-1 loss to FC Dallas, the phone lines are open. 949-734-4217. I'm going to leave that on the bottom if you're watching our live show. You can go ahead and give us a call on that, and we will do our best to put you in. As long as Skype cooperates, we'll put you right in. We'll have a talk with you. But the LA Galaxy fall, Wendy, I don't really have to remind you. I don't think I have to remind anybody, but the LA Galaxy fall 2-1 to FC Dallas in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal at StubHub Center. This was a game that went to extra time. 0-0 after 90 minutes. 1-0 after the first extra time period, with the LA Galaxy leading off of a Mike Magee converted penalty kick when Giovanni Dos Santos was or was not fouled and brought down in the box by FC Dallas goalkeeper Chris Seitz. Magee converted that penalty kick, as I said. FC Dallas then scrambled, and somehow, some way, in the last 5 minutes of the game, with one added extra minute of extra time, as Bruce Arena certainly will point out, Wendy, FC Dallas scored 2 goals off of 2 corner kicks and won the game 2-1. This was a game, quite honestly, that the Galaxy probably would have stolen with a 1-0 win, and I would have been perfectly fine with that, Wendy.
Well, I think there's so many problems. I have so many things to say. I really don't know where to start.
Let's start with lineup. Can we go lineup first, and we'll work from there? Okay,
lineup, fine.
So general lineup from Bruce Arena. Alan.
And by the way, before yesterday morning, you were tweeting with fans that Bruce Arena really cares about the Open Cup, and everyone was saying, "No, Josh, you're wrong. You're wrong." And you were saying, I expect him to put out Dos Santos. I expect him to put out Nigel de Jong.
Yes.
And yet, when we get the lineup, what do we see?
Yeah, we don't see those guys.
We don't see those guys.
I was concerned that because Gyasi Zardes wasn't going to be 100%, that we wouldn't see him at all. I thought for sure
because he didn't play on Sunday that he would play today.
He was coming back from injury, so there's a reason there. I mean, you can't just you can't say, oh, he should have started for sure or anything like that. The problem I have with this lineup, and I'll go through it real quick. Alan Gordon up top, Emmanuel Boateng, Mike Magee, Raul Mendiola, Jeff Lorenowitz, and Baggio Husidic through the center of midfield there. Rafa Garcia plays right back. Leonardo and Dave Romney, Ashley Cole are your defenders. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so there were bright spots. I will say I watched this entire game, and I would like to say, Raul Mendiola, if you are listening to this podcast, none of the criticism that we are about to levy against the team applies to you.
Right.
Because, Raul, you were wonderful.
Absolutely
you were
wonderful.
Absolutely brilliant. I think that Bruce should be giving you more first team minutes. I thought you were fantastic, creative. You were everywhere, all over the field. I saw you playing at center back, left wing, right wing, center midfielder, forward. I saw you absolutely everywhere, and I think Raul Mendiola was superlative.
So
I think
he was my man of the
Boateng
match.
had a very good game. I think Brian Rowe had a very good game.
Nice. All right.
Other than that,
It's hard to pick somebody
Alan
out.
Gordon was wretched.
Yes.
I thought that in the first half we had at least a half a dozen really good scoring opportunities that we absolutely choked on, I guess would be the phrase.
Yep.
And that's why I have such issue with what Bruce said during the comments at the end of the game, when he said that he thought it was all about the last 5 minutes of the game, because from my perspective, it was all about the first half. The first half where you failed to score 5 goals. 5 goals. You do not convert one opportunity. That's a huge problem. To me, the game was not lost in the last 2 minutes of the game. It should have been won during the first half.
Well, same with New York game. Absolutely the same with New York game. LA Galaxy had 2 or 3 excellent chances on goal in the first half against New York. Couldn't pull it out. Didn't score. Didn't convert. And this is a team, Wendy, we have both pointed out, does not shoot the ball.
No, they hold on to the ball. They circulate the ball, which is, I guess, if you're Barcelona, that makes sense.
Well,
it's good.
It's probably okay for Galaxy, too, as long as they convert those chances, right?
Yeah.
We're fine with it, as long as whenever they get a chance on goal, they have to put it away, because they're not going to get another one. They're limited amount of chances.
And lovely, sweet Raul Mendiola created so many chances for the Galaxy, and yet our 30-plus-year-old forwards just choked on them.
They did. No, Mike Magee had, I can point out 2 very, very good chances. Alan Gordon absolutely hit one that should have gone in early in this first half that should have seen the LA Galaxy go up 1-0. Chris Seitz got to it, and I believe also Atiba Harris also made a sliding tackle on it to kill that play. There was also Mike Magee should have buried a shot. This was the one for me that I sit there and go, the Galaxy, at least, if you throw out everything else that happened, Wendy, Galaxy should be
the one he took directly at the goalkeeper.
He hit it right at Seitz, just to the right of his head. It was an easy stop for him. I mean, not right at him, but yes, it was. Have my hands right here. Go ahead and hit it, and that's what he did.
I think that we should have gone. I think we should have gone to the halftime up 2-0. I really do.
Yeah.
I think that there's no excuses, and for Bruce to say at the end of the game that he's frustrated with extra time policies. He's frustrated with the referees adding a minute of extra time. That is such a intellectually dishonest excuse, because the pivotal part of the game was the first half, when we were repeatedly giving up opportunities to score goals and failing to convert them. And the problem was not with chance creation, because we created chances.
Right.
And the problem wasn't really with defense, because we defended well in the first half. The problem was with strikers not putting away their chances. Okay? That is the problem. And that lands on Alan Gordon and Mike Magee and anyone else who is trying to actually score the goal.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I think that if you look, it's actually eerily similar, despite the different lineups between New York and LA, between the New York game and the Dallas game. You look at what the Galaxy were able to do. They limited New York in the first half. New York didn't get a lot of chances. The Galaxy had multiple chances in that New York game to score goals and go up into halftime and be up and ahead and do that. And they didn't do it. Same thing with FC Dallas, because I thought Dallas was much better in the second half, Wendy. I think
they were really good in the second
Oscar
half.
Pareja is one of my favorite coaches by far.
Oh, he's wonderful.
And
I'd like to congratulate FC Dallas, because they played really well, and I think they deserve to win the game. So congratulations, and I hope they do really well in the finals, and I hope they win it, because I thought they played really well, and they played as a unit, and they put their chances away. So congratulations.
No, I mean, they deserved to win this game. I mean, I thought they were the better team in the second half. I thought that they were the better team in the second half of extra time, as far as the second period of extra time there. I thought they were the better team there. I thought the LA Galaxy had no midfield in this game at all.
Talking about lineup, you wanted to start the show talking about the lineup. So
Yes.
we had 3 starters from Sunday's game who started. We had Cole, we had Larenkowicz, and Rowe. Otherwise, the lineup was completely different. I personally was good with Mendiola and Boateng on the wings. I thought that was a good decision. I thought, with the exception of Garcia playing as an outside back, that the back line was fine. Midfield is a problem when you have Husidic and Larenkowicz as your midfielders.
Yes.
But I don't know. What were your thoughts on the lineup?
My biggest thing that I was missing in this was Yellow Van Dam. And there's no reason that I know of that Yellow Van Dam didn't play in this game, except that I'm sure Bruce Arena decided he wanted to rest him. That's my opinion. I did not ask the question. There were some other things to focus on besides why didn't you play Yellow Van Dam.
But I mean the back is. Ugh. I mean, Leonardo, I'm very concerned whenever I see him with the ball. But actually, he was okay. He was okay.
Dave Romney played... everybody's going to say, Dave Romney, oh my God, he was horrible. Dave Romney played really well in this game.
Actually, he did stop like several shots that were really dangerous.
Yes, Ashley Cole, excellent game.
Ashley Cole was fantastic.
Now, again, if you go to the last couple minutes there, Wendy, you blame Dave Romney twice and Ashley Cole not covering the post. So you get to blame Romney twice because the ball goes over his head twice. And you blame Ashley Cole for not standing on the post. You can blame those guys, but those guys both had very good games.
I know, up until then, I know.
Leonardo tried to give the game away a couple times.
Yeah, he did. He always does that a little bit.
And so here's my thing. This is why I wanted Yellow Van Dam. And this is why I think that...
Because he's our best center back. That's why.
Well, yeah, not only is he the best center back, but he helps you on defense overall. So overall defense, he's going to give you a boost. He helps you on set piece defense overall because he's a big, tall guy and he likes to get his head on things. So that works, okay? So there you go. He helps you on general offense because he is good at distributing the ball from the back. And without a midfield, because you didn't have one, everything was going out to the wings or over the top, and Yellow Van Dam would have been great at that, and he helps you on set-piece offense. There are 4 factors there why you should have Yellow Van Dam in the starting lineup. He's not that old. If he has an injury or something that I don't know about, very well could be. Have no idea if he's injured. It didn't seem injured. Didn't seem like that was the play, and that was the reason. And in the game notes where they usually list that Bruce Arena was without certain players, he was not listed in there. So that's one of the reasons. I'll tell you who else I would have played in this game. And by the way, I think Rafa Garcia had a decent game as well. I'm not going to say it was great. It was decent. I mean, for most of the game, the Galaxy did have a decent game, but in the second half, you clearly saw the wheels coming off the wagon. And I mean, I started feeling it basically as soon as the second half started. I started to feel like that we were losing a grip on the game, that Dallas was getting the upper hand. And towards the end of the game, I was biting my teeth, just going like, oh, let's please close this out. And unfortunately, we didn't. I had that sinking feeling that something bad was going to happen because you could just see the fatigue giving way. And I was just concerned. Even when Zardes and Giovanni Dos Santos came on, I still didn't feel confident. There was disconnect there. There was disconnect when those guys gone. Now, here is a criticism lots of people have said that Bruce waited too long to bring in Giassi Zardes and Giovanni Dos Santos. I would love it. They brought him in the 74th minute. Is that too late for you, Wendy?
Well, I know why he did this, because Bruce was thinking that we would be going to extra time.
He did the same thing in Seattle, by the way. But these two players came in the exact same minute, 74th minute, in the game against Seattle. So it's sort of his pattern, right? We knew that I was sitting next to LA Galaxy insider Adam Serrano. We were sitting there, and I go, Bruce isn't going to make a sub until like the 70th minute because he's guarding against extra time. Because of course, that's how it's going to work. And that's what ended up happening. It was pretty obvious. And you looked at Dallas making a halftime sub, making a 67th minute sub, and making basically right into the very end of the game sub. And then that's how they sort of went with their 3 subs. And the Galaxy actually waited until extra time in order to put in their last sub. So I thought overall, if you're talking about substitution patterns, Wendy, I was actually pretty pleased with that because I thought Bruce played it well. I was
okay with waiting until the 70th minute, 74th minute to do a substitution. Here's my problem with the substitutions, is that he substituted out Raul Mendiola.
Right.
And I was sitting there saying to myself, I understand getting rid of Alan Gordon because he's really, really not playing well. We definitely needed to bring on someone like Giassi Zardes, preferably a fit Giassi Zardes, who could finish chances. And actually, Giassi Zardes did have some really good. I mean, actually, the Mike Magee kick that emanated from some fabulous dribbling on Giassi Zardes' how he dribbled just directly right down the center in the line of the field, and that's essentially what led to getting the penalty kick.
All right, hold on, we got a call. Let's see who this is. 661. Who's this?
This is Raul up in Visalia.
Hey, Raul, how's it going, buddy?
Good, Josh. Hey, Wendy.
Hey, what's up?
Not much,
All right, what?
Listening to you guys talk about the game.
What do you got, buddy?
Well, it's going to be probably the main theme of the whole show, but it's the lineup. As soon as I saw that lineup come out, I was just shaking my head, and I go, "This is crap, man. This is." Anytime you put Badgio and Laurentowicz in the middle, you expect nothing, and
Right.
I see that lineup, and when I see them play together, it just drives me nuts, to be honest.
Yeah, there certainly is. I'm not gonna lie, Raul. Whenever you see Husidic and Laurentowicz next to each other, that's an issue. All right, and it has been this whole year. Now they've been able to sort of get through that sometimes in some different games, but nonetheless, that's not a speedy lineup, and it's not a very quick lineup or a very creative lineup in that defensive side. It's probably Bruce Arena's "you know what you get" philosophy, which is one of the same things we say about that all the time. What else about the lineup didn't you like?
Well, you know about how deep we are, and individual players on that lineup that have started at one time or another, or are capable of starting. But you put them all together, and that's not a starting lineup. I mean, would you play that team against New York Red Bulls or Colorado? A regular MLS team during the week with worth 3 points? I don't think so.
Yeah, Raul, maybe the answer is maybe they should have started this team against New York and not worried about that New York game as much, and that's something else. All right, Raul, anything else? I'm going to let you go, buddy.
No, that's it, man. I just wanted to voice my frustration, and hopefully we can turn it around next week or a couple weeks.
We appreciate it, Raul. Thanks for calling in, buddy. All right.
Bye, buddy.
That was good. Yeah, go ahead.
He makes a valid point, which is that Husidic and Laurentowicz, if they are our midfield, I don't think the Galaxy can put together a really effective midfield without either Gerrard or De Jong in there. And so when I saw the lineup and I was like, there's no Gerrard, there's no De Jong. I'm like, this midfield situation is gonna be ugly.
All right, if you're trying to call in, you can call in again. The phone lines are back open whenever somebody's on the line. I don't take it. So if you tried to call in, you can do that again, and we'll put you on there. I agree with that. Here is the thing: you were never gonna play. This is where I'm going to get into my criticism.
You could have played De Jong. I think he could have played De Jong.
I think he could have.
I really do. He was on the bench. I think he could have come in.
I agree. Now, here's the thing, though. Whenever you look at the substitution patterns and how it worked, right? You had Giassi Zardes come in for Alan Gordon, kind of. Giovanni Dos Santos kind of took that as well, right? You had Giovanni Dos Santos come in for Boateng. So you took your one outside guy and you moved Mike Magee back, and he dropped into that outside role, right? And then Giovanni Dos Santos goes up and plays that. So you already sort of subbed one of those wingers. And whenever you want to bring in Sebastian Lletget. You're probably not going to bring in Sebastian Lletget for somebody like somebody in the middle, like Laurentowicz or Husidic for that defensive side. All right, 562. Who's this?
This is Sean. Josh, how you doing today?
Good, Sean. Thanks for calling in, buddy. What do you got?
Oh, I want to talk about. I'm not able to listen to the show, so I'm hoping I'm not repeating anything.
Yep, go for it.
However. I did some research on our salary team that played last night, and we only had 3 of our top 11 paid players start the game, in contrast to 4 of our bottom 10 players start the game, or at least paid players.
Wow.
And the rest were in between. So I just feel it's hard to argue the point that we're really, really trying last night. And whenever we have an opportunity to win silverware at home against New England, I feel like we should have strived a little bit more to put a different team out there.
Sean, comes up with a great point. This is one of my favorite things that I think I've sort of evolved into thinking here, is that if you are serious, if Bruce Arena is serious, and Wendy, you can check me on this, okay? Make sure that if you disagree with me, you yell at me too. Both of you guys can check it. But if you are serious about this game, then the criticism of the lineup starts against New York and not in this Dallas game. Because this Dallas game is the result of the New York lineup, right? Because if you hadn't started Steven Gerrard and Robbie Keane and all your A-plus team, because that was an A-plus team against New York, if you don't do that against New York, you have everybody available, and there's no argument about legs being tired or anything else.
No, that's true. Obviously you have to anticipate that you have 3 home games in 1 week and schedule accordingly. You have to plan your lineups accordingly. I think that he could have sacrificed either De Jong or Gerrard from the Sunday lineup and then included them in this game, and that you would have had a different game as a result.
I think I have another point we're going to get to, but I want to let Sean, anything else you got for us?
No, I think that's it. I'm not part of this Fire Bruce committee. Those people are crazy.
There's like 3.
I'm not part of that committee either.
There's only 3 of them.
I didn't say you were, Wendy. I'm
just saying I understand where you're coming from. There is a minority of the LA Galaxy fans who
remember if you're in that minority, use the Fire Bruce hashtag so I can track your stupidity. All right, that's how it works.
Exactly. Retweet it so everyone else can see it.
It's frustration, though. I mean, something like this happens, and you do want to pin the blame on someone. And in this case, there's a fair argument to be made that Bruce's decision making essentially was the reason why we lost.
Yeah,
Speaking of blame, though, Wendy, what about the zonal marking? I mean, it's like
yes.
that was I got blamed in my section because I was so mad we gave up that corner kick at the end, and then sure enough they scored and we lose 2-1. They're like, you jinxed us. I'm like, no, it's easy to see. Our guys are standing flat-footed, and we got a bunch of tall guys running, jumping. There's no way to defend it. And it was easy to predict.
All right, so
Sean, I definitely don't think that you're the one that caused the LA Galaxy's loss.
Oh, I got blamed for it.
Sean, we don't blame you. We appreciate you calling in. We'll talk to you soon, okay, bud?
All right, sounds good. I look forward to this.
Oh, see, I always hit the button too soon. I always feel bad about that. Like for about 3 or 4 seconds, I feel really horrible about it.
No, but people's criticisms of Bruce, no one really thinks that Bruce should be fired. I think that it's just when this happens, it's evident to you and me that it was his decision making which contributed to a lot of the problems. Had he changed the lineup on Sunday, had he given us either De Jong or Gerrard last night, then I think that we could have had a different game.
All right, 8. Let's see. I'm sorry. I was going to say this, and then I was wrong. So 8:05, who's this?
Josh, this is Scott.
Scott, I was going to play your New York thing because it's hysterical. I was probably going to
No, Josh. New York is done. Josh, I have one simple question for you.
Yes.
Play twice a week in this country. Please answer that.
Oh, you say it again because you broke up there for a second.
Why can't professional soccer players who make 6 and 7 figures play twice a week in this league in this country?
So I see, and Scott, I would argue, by the way, I switched around my thinking after I argued with you last night. I was tired and not thinking straight, but you're right, because I argued that they play 3 times this week, and it's a Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, but you're right, a weekend's a weekend, and it doesn't really matter which day on the weekend you play. You should be able to play all of it. You know the answer to that, Scott.
It's ridiculous. Come on, man. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. We're in other leagues. The big boy leagues, those guys play Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. They have 4 competitions, and Arsenal, Manchester United, they're going deep into these tournaments. We don't have CCL. We didn't have any international friendlies. We have one U.S. Open Cup game like every 3 or 4 weeks, plus MLS games. There's simply no excuse to not play everybody.
I'm not going to.
Another thing that I like to say is, this is true. My brother is an ultra marathoner. He runs like 50-mile marathons and stuff like that. And he's always saying to me, like, why? He's like, what's the big deal about saying that, like, you can't run for 90 minutes on Sunday and then 90 minutes on Wednesday? He's like, I could do that 10 times. I mean, he's like, I just don't understand it. If they're professional athletes, you should be able to run 90 minutes a day every day. I mean, this isn't, it shouldn't even be a problem, like, at all.
Yeah, I think that you guys are simplifying that a little bit. I think it's harder than you think to play 2 90-minute games, and for the older players, Scott, because that's where you and I have had this discussion before. For the older players, that is difficult. It's physically demanding. Whenever you're running an ultra,
my brother is 40 years old.
Yeah, hey, hats off to your brother.
It's their job. They're paid to do this.
I really don't think that. I agree. I think that they should be able to play 3 games in a week.
I think that some of those guys can't do that anymore.
I think they should work on their fitness then.
Well, I think you're looking at guys like Robbie Keane. I think you're looking at guys like Steven Gerrard. Those are the 2 probably biggest ones. I think Alan Gordon probably couldn't play 2 90-minute games in a week right now. I think Mike Magee would have trouble playing 2 90-minute games in a week.
Why are they on the roster?
Because you have to fill out the roster, Scott. It's not like you're in the EPL and let's be honest, EPL does have deeper benches. Those guys, yes, they do rotate players still, and there's not as big a drop-off. The bottom line is the Galaxy probably have one of the best benches in Major League Soccer, which is true, regardless of what you think. I think it's one of the best benches in Major League Soccer, and even they have trouble rotating players enough to keep guys on the field in this case. How
did Seattle win 4 Open Cups and make it go deep in the playoffs those past years?
Because they don't win any MLS Cups.
In 2014, they were this close to knocking us out.
Yep, that close. Listen, I think I had this argument earlier. Hey, Scott.
I think you're making excuses. There's no reason that someone who's paid $6 million a year can't do a little fitness work, can't, do a little road work and get himself to the position where he can run for 90 minutes.
Let's see. Robbie Keane almost had his head bashed in whenever he played the last game. It's
That
not
was
just
one
running.
game.
It's not just running.
He's been very healthy. Not this season, but in seasons past, he's been very healthy.
This is not just running. This is getting hit. This is getting tripped. You pick up knocks. You pick up little things all along the way. Your body deteriorates as you play. Scott, I'm going to let you go, by the way. I'm getting some other calls, all right?
Bye.
Thanks, buddy. All right. All right, 310. Hold on. I'm going to put this on here as well. 310, who's this?
Hey, what's up, Josh? It's Yossi.
Hey, Yossi. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, man, not bad, not bad.
All right, what do you got?
Yeah, I just want to make a couple comments from yesterday's game.
Go for it.
I definitely think we should. I'm just calling in. I haven't caught the show, but I do think Magee should have buried that one when he had that the through ball and it came into a volley. He definitely should have buried that one, considering he was an MVP. He's got all this experience, man. Like, we should have just sealed the game. But then again, it was like back and forth, and Dallas did have their chances as well.
Yeah.
But I think it was absolutely ridiculous the way that ball went through Ashley Cole's leg and the post. I'm not sure if you saw France '98, but it reminded me of Mike Burns. In what was that? The USA versus I don't know if it was Iran or some other game, but it was just ridiculous, dude, and it just bummed me out. But I don't want to be the hater, so
no,
whatever.
Trust me, your comments have been some of the kindest so far. So I think you're okay there. No, I mean, listen, legitimate gripe on Ashley Cole not covering the post, Wendy. There's no argument about that, right?
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's the thing is that a player can have a really good game and then at the end make a huge mistake and cost your team the game. And I don't know what you say about that. I mean, he played well for almost the entire game.
Yep, almost.
Well, I mean, considering he's I'm sorry, Josh, but considering he's one of the leaders, or supposed to be one of the leaders on the team, one of the ones with experience coming in, that should not have happened. But it is what it is, and hopefully next year we'll get it.
Yeah, I know. There's always next year. Oh, that's fun. All right, Yossi, thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you later. All right.
Hey, thank you, man.
All right. So we'll listen. This is I want to get to one of my other points, and I don't. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe that the LA Galaxy have one of the most, and this isn't even the point that I wanted to get to, but I firmly believe the LA Galaxy have one of the most advanced training programs in Major League Soccer. Do you disagree?
What are you basing that on, by the way?
That they have a whole department dedicated to that. They were way out ahead of it at the beginning. They use all sorts of computers and programs and tracking to track the fitness and the recovery, and they balance everybody's diets and nutritions and all the things that you would expect a professional sports team to do.
They could have a whole staff devoted to team's kinesthetics, and they could have excellent nutritionists,
they do,
and trainers and stuff like that. But ultimately, if the athletes themselves aren't, doing everything they can to be as fit as possible so that you can play 2 games in 1 week's time, then it's not really a failing of the infrastructure of the LA Galaxy. It's just a comment on what the fitness level is of the team, that you can't have Nigel de Jong play a game on Sunday and then on Wednesday. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why Nigel didn't play. I think that would, if you were going to ask me one of my other ones, I would say AJ De La Garza should have played, and I would have said Nigel de Jong should have played. And I think you put Jeff Laurentowicz up in front of Nigel de Jong, and that gets rid of sort of the Laurentowicz-Baggio triangle of what do you call that? The triangle.
And why couldn't Giovanni Dos Santos, who's 26 or 27 years old, play? I mean, I understand, Steven Gerrard, 35, Robbie Keane, 35. Right. Giovanni Dos Santos, 26. When you're a 26-year-old man and your job is as a professional athlete, I mean, really, why can't you play more than 1 game in a week?
I think that Bruce is playing for the Colorado game. Again, that's not an excuse, Wendy. I'm telling you what I think he's saying. What do you think? And I think one of the things, and hold on, we haven't, of course, oh no, we lost it. I thought we had a call there. You can call back. We're going to extend this segment a little bit because you guys are still talking, and we'd much rather talk to you than just have us talk. So
yeah, we're just previewing Colorado. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, we got some news.
This is much more interesting.
This is way more interesting. Listen, I think that the LA Galaxy, and I was talking to my good friend Chris Tucker, Zero Cool. Chris and I were texting back and forth talking, and we were saying, and I said, and I theorized this, and Chris and I work a lot of things out. So I'll throw out theories, and he'll tell me why I'm crazy, and then eventually I'll keep going and going until I've talked myself into a good theory that maybe works. But for me, in my head, I think that the LA Galaxy got sort of drawn in by the fact that they had 3 home games. If any of these games are away games, let's say the FC Dallas game is an away game, you have to play an A+ lineup to go to Dallas and try to win that, right? So you look at the New York game and you go, that's not as important now. I'm now going to go ahead and I'm going to focus on this FC Dallas game. But the fact that they were all at home, I think, this is pure speculation, have no idea, Wendy, I think Bruce thought that he could win all 3 of these games. And he tried to win all 3 at once rather than just focusing on a cup game or pushing that New York game out. If there's anything I'm going to criticize Bruce for, it's for focusing on that New York game instead of this U.S. Open Cup game, because the New York game means nothing, relatively speaking.
In some ways, it's very favorable at times to have a coach who's an egotist, because I don't mean that in the sense of him being a narcissist. I mean literally in an egotist, that he believes he is self-centered by his ego. He is unconcerned with the opinions of others.
Right.
In some ways, that's very favorable, because I think that the insecurity of coaches can be a real plague to them. And that is not a problem with Bruce, because I don't think he has any insecurity. But there's a downside to it too, which is that, you do things, you take risks,
right, because
you in your heart think, no, we should be able to do this, when you could do things differently in a more prudent fashion. And you probably, if there is anyone with, a bug in his ear saying, we should do this, we could do that, he probably is unconcerned with the opinions of others, including the fans and I don't know, anyone else. And so it's a problem when that kind of person is the ultimate decision maker for a team, because that in a way that I knew this was going to happen. I had the feeling that we were going to get this lineup, and we did. And I know that this is Bruce's style, and I know there's nothing that any of us can do to alter it, to
right,
alter how he does things, his philosophy, the types of players that he seeks out. We can't alter any of this, and it's both a curse and a blessing.
Well, nor should you, by the way. All right, 323, who's this?
Josh, what's going on? It's Jose.
Jose, say hi to Wendy. I know you like to.
Hi, Jose.
Hey, Wendy. Hey, how's it going?
Good, buddy. What's up?
You had me on the line or on hold for like almost 2 minutes. I felt like I was like in the, like in a police thing where I'm just kind of like hearing in on the conversation that's going on. So
it
pretty cool.
It was a little voyeuristic. I know you liked it. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I was in on like a secret or something. But again, just kind of piggybacking on Raul Mendiola, man. I know you talked to Adam on Monday when you had your from the box edition of Corner of the Galaxy, where he kind of keeps clamoring, opportunities that come, with U.S. Open Cup games, and whether players are up to the task of doing it. And definitely Raul, he's shown once again that he's not intimidated by the stage. And the guy, even when he would lose the ball, Josh, he would just kind of hustle, go back and defend, and he actually won some of the balls that he lost. So, and that's like the right kind of attitude that you want in a young player. He's already kind of got that soccer IQ where, dang, I lost the ball, now I gotta hustle and try to get it back, and that's just amazing. And I think all Galaxy fans should be just happy and proud to have this young guy as a homegrown player. And I know you've been kind of singing his praises that he's going to be the next big kind of impact player for the Galaxy coming from the Los Dos. So, and it's just shown. He kind of away in Portland, he played it really well.
Right.
And even last night, he just ran his socks off. And of course, he got subbed out in the 90th, but he was fatigued by them, but he kind of, the full 90 that he was out there, he was just working his tail off. And
he
played
was
well.
Fantastic. He was kudos to Raul Mendiola again. Raul, you did so good.
Yeah, really, really good. And you're right. I have been saying it. The one reason I really like Raul Mendiola is even though he's small, he plays big. And there's some other smaller players on LA Galaxy 2 who play small. And that's why I think...
Or even medium-sized players who play small, such as Giovanni Dos Santos.
Yes, Gio can play small. Absolutely. He doesn't play big.
Very small.
Raul Mendiola plays big. And I like players who are small and play big because they can do stuff with thing. Jose, anything else, buddy?
Can you hook me up with some socks?
No. No, I haven't said I'm going to give any away yet. I haven't even showed them yet.
You have LA Galaxy socks, Josh. I want a pair.
Yeah, see, everybody wants a pair of socks. That's why it is. Jose, we'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, thanks.
All right. I do.
Another thing that I noticed during last night's game, Giovanni Dos Santos plays. He really does not. He has like a very sturdy build. So when you look at him, I think to myself, he should be able to play this sport in a quasi-physical way. And yet he really doesn't like being touched. Like He really doesn't.
Right.
He whenever anyone touches him, pushes him, first of all, he goes to ground very quickly.
Yes.
And second of all, it's like it perturbs him in a way. He really is bothered by it. I don't want to like say to a designated player, like, toughen up, kid, but part of me kind of wants to say, like, toughen up, because he gets stripped of the ball. It's very easy for players to blow him out of his comfort zone and just sort of, distract him, because he just really is, he's really bothered by physical contact, and I don't know why that is.
Well, I mean, I think you have to look at it. Major League Soccer is a very physical league.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a 27-year-old kid. I mean, I don't know. It's really mind-boggling to me, because he and Robbie Keane essentially have a very similar physique. They're about the same size, about the same height. But Robbie Keane does not play that way. Like, it's hard to strip Robbie of the ball.
Yeah.
And he also doesn't play like he's afraid of contact.
Right.
That's why size is not always, I mean, size can be very misleading. I mean,
Yes.
there's times when, last night, in fact, there was a time when Emma Boateng, I think, beat Kellen Acosta in the air in a header. I was like, look at little Emma Boateng, all of whatever, 4'11" or whatever he is.
Yes.
And, your vertical league can compensate. And I feel like Giovanni Dos Santos is just, it's like he doesn't want to play a physical game at all.
There's some guys who don't like that, Wendy. I mean, maybe that's another one of those things.
This is Major League Soccer. That's never going to work.
No, it's a physical league. Absolutely. Not going to disagree with you even a little bit. I'd said one thing. I want to sort of toot my own horn, because I like doing that on occasion. That sounded really bad, just the way that it came out that way. But I said that, Jelle Van Dam and Ashley Cole have this calmness about them in defense. Ashley Cole certainly showed it. I feel like AJ De La Garza also has a lot of that calmness. Not the same amount, but a lot of it. And I was looking at Jelle Van Dam and AJ De La Garza and how really they're very similar players, except that Jelle Van Dam is as tall as we all wished AJ could finally be. Right? I mean, that's if you could make
Jelle Van Dam is also very sneaky and tactical with his fouling.
He's 6 foot 4.
I have seen him do things, and I'm like, ooh, how did you keep the referee from seeing that, Jell? I don't know.
He's 6'4", and he's like, he could hide under a blade of grass. He's one of those guys.
It's true. In the New York game, I saw there was a point in the game where I don't know how you have the wherewithal to have this kind of kinesthetic awareness. He shielded his body from both the side referee and the referee that was behind him, and then using his right hand, he grabbed the bottom of the player's t-shirt in front of him and tugged it down. Perfect. And I was like, oh man, you have to really be conscious of where everyone is on the field in order to shield the views of everyone involved and try and get the player that you're like. I mean, that's really, really like clever.
It is, and he's that's another reason he should have been on the field, and I'm disappointed that he wasn't, and I'm disappointed in the way that game ended, because zonal marking, yes, was a thing. I know, I can't remember who brought it up, but yeah, zonal marking, definitely a thing. I hate it. I don't like it. I like to man mark and then go to the ball from there. I do not like to just go after the ball in a zone, but we still have a lot to get to, and we're running out of time already. So we're going to take a quick break so that way I can, breathe a little bit. All right? And then whenever we get back, we're going to do some Galaxy news and preview Colorado. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. We'll be right back.
Recording from CoG Studios and not their mom's basement, it's Corner of the Galaxy.
Hey, this is Chris.
This is Eddie.
This is Jason.
And we're from Back Pocket Memory, and you're listening to Corner of the Galaxy.
Welcome back to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Josh Guesman, Wendy Thomas back with you again. I know, we're just gone for a second, but I needed to stretch a little bit. I needed to relax, to shake off the game. It's going away now, Wendy. We got to let it go. It's over with.
Deep breathing. Meditative breathing.
Meditative. I suggest everybody gets one of those apps that helps them meditate a little bit, and everybody calms down, including Bruce. Bruce was a little fired up.
I did yoga this morning, and even after yoga, I still felt the game.
You still wanted to punch babies, kick puppies. I understand.
No, but usually I can cleanse my mind through yoga, and I got out of the yoga thing, and I was still thinking about the game. I was like, damn, that game.
That happens. That means it will live forever. It will be one of those disappointing moments in your life, like the 2009 MLS Cup final was for me.
I hate this feeling.
It's not fun.
I hate this feeling.
Fun. Sometimes I wonder why we even try, right?
There's times when you lose and you don't feel really bad.
Right.
I feel really bad.
I understand.
About last night's loss.
All right. Let's get to some LA Galaxy news now. I know there's not too much of it. We have some stuff we can talk about. Let's start with this because MLS is a fun place, Wendy. Let's start with the MLS acknowledge errors in the LA versus New York officiating and discussing issues with the pro. So MLS basically said that they acknowledged that mistakes were made in that game. They cite the Laurentowicz fouls, one of which we're going to get to in a second, and the 2 New York penalty kicks that went wayward. However, they didn't mention the first penalty kick that, had it been given, would have changed the complete complexion of the game, which was the one on Steven Gerrard. This seems like Jesse Marsch and all of his complaining, which he got ejected for, which probably he had some legitimate beefs, except that he cried like a little baby.
Well, he had legitimate beefs. It was an extremely weird game. It was one of the weirdest games I can remember.
Horrible officiating.
You can't deny that Gerrard should have gotten a penalty kick very early in the first half, and then if we had gone up 1-0, obviously the complexion of the game would have been completely different.
And New York got jobbed too, Wendy. I mean, I think that the one Laurentowicz foul, which he gets a yellow card for, is probably a yellow card, and I have no problems with it. I don't think he actually got a yellow card. I think they actually misstated that in here because I remember no yellow card coming out. He got one later.
He's been suspended for one game, correct?
He has been suspended. The Disco, in all their infinite knowledge there, has decided that Jeff Laurentowicz is on the naughty list. I've stopped paying any attention to the disciplinary committee whatsoever because you cannot predict it, and it seems like the more you make a stink about something...
It seems like all they do is when someone complains after a game about the LA Galaxy, an LA Galaxy player gets suspended. That's what it is. And someone starts crying about the LA Galaxy being the monolithic big bad boys of MLS, they complain, and if Darlington Nagbe gets fouled, and if Jesse Marsch thinks the pros are ruling against him, then someone from the LA Galaxy is going to get suspended.
So in this case, it's Jeff Laurentowicz, and he did injure Damian Pernell, who had a meniscus tear or a meniscus injury, and basically will keep him out for 4 to 6 weeks. I feel bad for him. I wish that didn't happen. Do I think that Jeff Laurentowicz went in with any intention to hurt him? Not at all. Sometimes it's just a foul, and sometimes people get injured. I honestly believe that there were actual shouts for Sebastian Lletget to be ejected in a game where Connor Lade tore his ACL and is out for the rest of the year. Whenever they bump knees, and Connor Lade initiated that contact. It's like sometimes playing soccer, you're gonna get hurt. Robbie Keane.
Yeah, and it's not going to be like the fault of the other person being malicious. It's going to be by virtue of the fact that it's a contact game, and sometimes people get injured.
That's it. And so that's really where you come into all this. So that's the Jeff Laurentowicz is suspended for the Colorado game. I'll be honest, I don't know that he was going to play again. He's been playing a ton of minutes.
I know he played Sunday and Wednesday.
Yeah, so I don't know that he was playing in this anyway. So get ready for Baggio Husidic in the middle ahead of Nigel de Jong is my best get. All right, let's go ahead and give you an update on news that Corner of the Galaxy broke. Jack McBean update. Jack McBean is, if you don't know the story and you haven't been paying attention, Jack McBean is scheduled, or at least looks like he's going on loan to Coventry City, which is a third-tier English side. Yay. That loan, 6 months to 12 months, 6 months more than likely, 12 months possibly. There is unconfirmed reports, except that I can tell you that this is hysterical. He played for the Coventry City U21 team over the weekend, over the last couple days, and they have a picture of him, but they never mention his name. So they have a picture of him, and it's like one of the Coventry City forwards. It's hysterical. It's all like cloak and dagger. I think I can confirm that Jack McBean scored a goal in that game. So the Coventry City U21s ended up losing 3-1. Jack McBean scored their only goal against
Good luck, Jack.
Derby County. So that's how that works. Still waiting on paperwork issues from all that I'm being told. The Coventry Telegraph is reporting that all this stuff should happen in the coming days, which is sort of what we've been told the whole time. So.
It shouldn't be a problem because he has Scottish passport.
That's actually he has, and I was corrected on this. He has a UK passport, which includes all of them. There is no such thing as a Scottish passport. I got corrected.
He has Scottish ancestry, which entitles him to a UK passport.
There you go. All right. I don't know. That's it. LA Galaxy 2 had one of the worst games I've ever seen in my entire life. You think that this Open Cup game was bad, and I'm going to tell you that I think that this was worse.
Sneaking things up.
Unlike the LA Galaxy 2 went up 3-0. 3-0 on the Portland Timbers 2 at StubHub Center Track and Field Stadium. They go up 3-0 at halftime. They end up losing the game 4-3 after going down to 10 men in the second half. So if you thought last night's game was bad, imagine being up 3-0 and be like, okay, we could go home because this game's over, and then losing 4-3. Not a good look for LA Galaxy 2, expecting them to bounce back, but that's 2 losses in a row. One to Orange County Blues down in Orange County, and then the Portland Timbers 2, who are playing at StubHub Center. A little bit unlike Cardinalfo's team. I expect them to pick it up. Remember, no Jack McBean there anymore. Ari Lassiter has picked up some of that scoring ability. Raul Mendiola.
So he's
Ari
coming
Lassiter.
back. He's back from injury?
Yeah, he is. So is Bradford Jamison IV. They've both been playing, I think, the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, everybody's asking where these guys were, and maybe you wanted to see them in this Open Cup game. They have been injured, and I would not say that they're ready to come into a first-team game yet. So that's sort of where they are. This Saturday, you can find it on YouTube, because you can watch all the games live on YouTube, is the LA Galaxy 2 will travel to OKC Energy FC, because that's a great name. And they'll play at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday if you want to watch that game. There you go. I don't want to talk about Giovanni Dos Santos in his 1 year. Do you care about his 1 year anniversary? Is there really anything? Okay, good. LA Galaxy schedule as we look. Colorado coming up on Saturday, then travel to New York City to play NYC FC in the tiny postage stamp that is Yankee Stadium. Stadium there. So
but now NYCFC is actually good.
They are very good, as a matter of fact. I still don't think they're one of the best teams in the East. I still think New York Red Bulls and Toronto FC are probably the 2 best teams in there. But New York City's not bad. The good news is that New York City plays on this really tiny field, Wendy, and we have a lot of old players on the LA Galaxy.
I know, it's going to be so much better for them.
There you go. Not a lot of running. So basically you can shoot from just outside your own 18-yard box. It's like playing on a futsal court. Chicago coming up away. A home game against Vancouver sort of rounds out this August schedule. Then we go into September and October. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, not too many games left remaining in this MLS season. It's going to start counting here real soon, and the LA Galaxy can sort of look ahead to this as they get ready to face Colorado. Western Conference standings, FC Dallas is in first. So the LA Galaxy B team, if there's some high points that you can take, Wendy, the LA Galaxy B team took the FC Dallas A+ team, that is their full starting lineup, to 120 minutes. If you want to take...
We can lose to the best of them.
So you can lose really late. You basically went 0-0 with that. I'll tell you, FC Dallas doesn't scare me nearly as much.
We could lose to Real Madrid. We could lose to Barcelona. We can lose to the best teams in the world.
Best teams. You put them in front of us, and we will lose to them.
We can lose.
There you go.
We can lose to them.
I like that.
That's right.
Western Conference standings, FC Dallas, Colorado Rapids, Real Salt Lake are tied with the LA Galaxy in 3rd and 4th position. The LA Galaxy in 4th with 37 points. Real Salt Lake with 37. Colorado in 2nd with 41. And FC Dallas with 44. The ones you have to watch there, Colorado, same games played as the LA Galaxy, but they have 4 more points, which is why, Wendy, this game...
We really need to win on Saturday.
Because it would put the LA Galaxy just 1 point behind Colorado and keep them from climbing. And this Colorado team, Wendy, has been... I said in the opening, they're the Cinderellas of Major League Soccer this year.
They're the Leicester.
I had no idea they were going to be anywhere near this good. If you would have told me...
No one else did either.
If you would have told me that Pablo Mastroeni actually knew what he was doing coaching, I would have said, you're crazy.
Well, I think New England is really rethinking that Jermaine Jones thing.
Well, yes and no. I understand not wanting to pay him a whole bunch of money. I get it.
And yet, when he went to Colorado, they did start winning a lot.
They did. You also have guys in there like Gashi and Magee and Doyle and Powell. They have... Listen, this is a good team. Hairston, you look through all of these guys going all the way back, and you sort of want to sit there and go, this is actually a pretty good team. They got Sebastian Letou, too. That's crazy. I can't believe Letou is on Colorado and that we have to play him again. He's one of those guys that always makes me nervous against the Galaxy. I feel like he does well against them, so I would look for him possibly coming off the bench in this. But and the fact is that who I consider one of the best goalkeepers in Major League Soccer right now, Zach McMath, is sitting on the bench because Tim Howard is in there.
Tim Howard is the starter.
Tim Howard. I mean, that's interesting. Let me tell you the game specifics, and then Wendy, you and I can talk about this a little bit more. Saturday, August 13th, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. This game is on Time Warner Cable Sportsnet, Time Warner Cable Deportes, but of course you want to get your tickets. LAGalaxy.com/tickets. Want to see you out there at the game. I am anticipating, I know this is a plug, and I apologize for all those people who get turned off by me trying to actually make a little bit of money in order to put back into this hobby that continually drains my pocketbook. But I should have more damn pins, as we call them. And so those should be coming in on Friday. So if you want to head over to the website, cornerofthegalaxy.com/shop, you can order those. And those coming in Friday, we should be able to start shipping those out. And I will bring some to the game with me as well. So if you want those, they're $1. It's not too hard. If you have $5, I'll give you 5 of them. It's pretty simple. It's fun. Please help us out any way you can. We'd appreciate it. We're not trying to make a ton of money. We're just trying to offset maybe 1 or 2 months of actually hosting this website and all of our podcasts. All right. That was my little spiel in there. Again, I apologize. LA Galaxy in 4th, Wendy, 9-3-10. Colorado in 2nd in the Western Conference, 11-3-8. The good news is the Galaxy not playing Colorado at home because Colorado hasn't lost at home, Wendy. They're much more beatable on the road, and
everyone's much more beatable on the road.
It's Major League Soccer. What do you know? Bruce Arena was probably right that it's really hard to win on the road.
It is really hard to win on the road. Some of the things that are Bruce's aphorisms are really true, and one of my favorites is that your DP players need to be DP players.
Yep.
You need them to produce. So on Saturday, we had better see our DP players performing.
Well, I think you're going to get. I don't see any hiccups as far as any of the designated players. I haven't heard of any injuries. I haven't heard of any issues.
What was Keane's injury?
There was nothing announced.
What? It had to have been something because I've never seen him crumpled up in the field like that. And he had to change his shirt on the sideline. I saw him change his shirt, which means he must have been bleeding.
He was bleeding. He was bleeding, but he hit his nose. We know that for sure. Nobody has announced that it's broken. There was a possibility he lost a tooth. Nobody has announced that he has lost a tooth. Nobody has announced that he is injured in any way that
has
would leave him
anyone
out.
asked?
I don't know, and I don't get to go to there's some protocols to asking when players are injured, and you have to go to training in order to do that. And I apologize that I'm not able to get out to training as much as I'd like. We can certainly bug Adam and see if he can ask that question, or they'll kind of know whenever you get to talk to Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane probably will be made available for discussions with the press on Friday. We're recording on Thursday night. Friday morning, you probably expect. If Keane talks, there's a pretty good likelihood that there's nothing wrong with him, and it's fine. I will say that I saw him after the game in New York, and he didn't look like he was suffering anything besides the fact that he was like, my face hurts. But
he was curled up on the ground for minutes, and he looked awful. And for the rest of the game, he looked off.
Well, yeah.
I think he might have been playing with a broken nose.
And that very well. I think that speculation isn't out of bounds. I don't know that. But again, he's Robbie Keane. Lots of people were concerned about the concussions and everything that happened. For my 2 cents, and again, I hate to speculate on this stuff, I would love that they would be way more overly cautious than they are. And if it was my friend or my player or anything like that, I would hope that Robbie Keane would come off in that situation just because it just looked borderline. But I will say that whenever he got hit, whenever he actually ran into Luis Robles and ran his face into his thigh, he was immediately signaling for somebody to come over. So it wasn't like he was dazed or confused that he didn't know what was going on. He was like, something just hit my nose and you need to come over.
Yeah, he looks like he was in pain.
Yeah, it looked like a pain thing. So I'm not so sure that a concussion it didn't happen. I don't like to get into. It's very political right now with how you judge that, and I will say that I am in no position to judge it. But just from his reaction, it seemed like more he was worried about his nose than anything else. And that doesn't mean that he didn't have a concussion on top of that. But that's not what any diagnosis at least has come out that I know of. So we'll find out more information about Robbie Keane. So I don't see any issues for designated players besides a possible issue with Robbie Keane as far as being injured. Steven Gerrard should be fine to play. Giovanni Dos Santos played 55 minutes. You want to say that that Bruce Arena was limiting some minutes on that, and Giovanni Dos Santos.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's going to
Sardis,
trot out the B or C minus or whatever lineup for the Wednesday game we're in a semifinal to potentially win some silverware, then I had better see that A+ lineup on Saturday.
Yeah, and if it's not, then you're looking at stuff that's more indicative of recoveries and guys just running through a ridiculous July that really beat up their body.
So many recoveries, so much recovery for this team.
It is.
Every other team in MLS has the exact same number of games.
They do. They do. They're not always spaced out the same. I think that you see a different game. Again, one of the things that went against the Galaxy, not an excuse, but a circumstance of playing, is that FC Dallas didn't have a weekend game. They got to play in
They
this.
had a bye week, and they're the best. They're at the top of the table. All that is true. But we were playing them at home, and my philosophy on playing at home and Major League Soccer, you should win every home game.
You should. And even Dallas is not. Actually, Dallas hasn't lost a game at home, so they haven't won every game. It's the two teams at the top right now, and actually even the LA Galaxy, even Real Salt Lake. You have to go down into 5th place to find a team who has actually lost at home with the record. So FC Dallas is 9-0-3, Colorado 9-0-3, Real Salt Lake 6-0-5, LA Galaxy 6-0-5 at home. Those are really the differences in the thing. So I think if you're looking in general terms, you should win home games. We also know that the LA Galaxy have lost some games this year. They've only lost 3 in MLS play, 4 overall if you count MLS Cup, or excuse me, U.S. Open Cup. So again, you look at it sucks what happened, and it shouldn't have happened when you're 5 minutes away from winning that game. There's no reason you should give up 2 goals. But you look at it, the LA Galaxy have lost 4 games this season so far. It was just unfortunate that they chose to lose that game. And that, like you said, there could have been ways to prevent that. So that's sort of what it is. Colorado, again, I just love watching Colorado play anymore. I watch their game against Vancouver and watch them just run Vancouver right into the ground, especially at altitude. So playing them at home is a non-starter for me. I think that even if you're the LA Galaxy, maybe that's a time to rest everybody whenever you play Colorado at home and just sort of mail that one in. I know people don't like to hear that, but playing them there is very difficult. Now, them coming to StubHub Center, that's a totally different thing. 2, 3, and 5 on the year away, Wendy. This is a game the LA Galaxy very well better compete in. Who do you want to see? Who's exciting you from Colorado? Who do you want to see?
Well, I haven't seen this team play because I don't think we've played Colorado at home yet.
Correct.
Is that true? Yes.
Correct,
Okay. So I'm interested in seeing Doyle and Gashi, and I guess I'd like to see Tim Howard. I haven't seen him play in years, probably. I mean,
I'm wrong, by the way.
For the national team, that might be fun. But yeah, I mean, this is the team that is lighting up MLS. I'm very excited. I think that it's a wonderful. It is in some ways great representation of MLS that a team that was a bottom, just absolutely awful last year is leading the table this year. It's just MLS is going to MLS, and parity is what this league is basically about. And so I think that it's really sweet that they're doing so well. And I like to see a fan base that has had to endure a few years of some pain get a little bit of pride back in their team.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that Colorado is having a good year. That being said, I hope we pace them.
5-0. One of those. Yeah, and I was wrong, by the way. The LA Galaxy did play them at home June 22nd, not that long ago, actually. LA 0, Colorado 0. You have to go back to March 12th, the beginning of the season, where the LA Galaxy gave up a late Marco Papa goal. Remember, that was whenever
that game.
Daniel Steres headed the ball, and it kind of came off his head a little sideways, and Papa volleyed the ball in the 90th minute or something like that. It was right around the death of the game. Colorado won that game 1-0. It was one of the first losses for the Galaxy, and one of those that you sort of look back at and go, oh man, if you didn't have that game. You look at Colorado, that game, you look at the Montreal game where Brian Rowe let the ball go through his hands. You look at some of these where they've been real close as far as what's happened in the loss column, and the Galaxy could be that team that's on top. The Colorado Rapids currently lead the league in points per game at 1.86, FC Dallas just behind them at 1.83, FC Dallas having played, I believe, 2 or 3 more games than, I think it's 2 games. 2 games more than Colorado and LA. So LA with 2 games in hand still looking good. Colorado game, this is a 6-point game, Wendy. You have to win this game. You keep Colorado from moving forward. You keep FC Dallas within your sights. You can see all that stuff happening right in front of you. This is a time for them to happen. If you're looking at the last 6 games for these two teams, you have 4 wins and 2 draws for the LA Galaxy. You have 2 wins, 1 loss, and 3 draws for Colorado. So a little bit of a dip there. They actually lost the game, boys and girls. So that's something new and exciting for Colorado. Let's hopefully see the LA Galaxy can do that to them here at StubHub Center. So again, that game is at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Time Warner Cable Sportsnet, Time Warner Cable Deportes. Get your tickets at lagalaxy.com/tickets. Anything else, Wendy? You want to predict a score, an actual score for this game?
God.
Not
Okay,
really.
I'm going to predict an LA Galaxy win. I'm going to predict 1-0.
1-0 LA. Ooh, the barn burner that is called. Yes, yes.
Because that's just how we've been playing.
I understand.
That is exactly the type of score we would put up.
That will keep everybody on the edge of their seats for sure. I will say that it is a 2-1 win for the LA Galaxy, and let's see if they can keep it that way just this once. All right, Wendy, anything else? Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
You can find me at American Soccer Now and Corner of the Galaxy and on Twitter at Bardsblonde.
All right, if you're looking for me, at Jay Guesman, JGUESMAN, at Galaxy Podcast, that's me as well. Sometimes it's Wendy. Most of the time it's me. Want to thank all our callers for calling in. Remember, we do this almost every Thursday night. You can find our schedule at cornerofthegalaxy.com/live. I want to thank the band Back Pocket Memory for allowing us to use their music. I know I don't say it all the time, but these guys are awesome for letting it do it because it keeps me away from all those pesky copyright issues. LA Galaxy, Colorado Rapids, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. We'll see everybody at the game. For Wendy Thomas, I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.